We are ready to begin now. So, good evening to everyone present here today, and thank you for joining us. On behalf of Billabong High International Schools, I warmly welcome all our dear parents and their families to this special webinar that focuses on understanding the Cambridge pathway and what it truly means to your child's academic journey. Today's session is designed to give you clarity, not just about the structure of Cambridge pathways, but about how it is going to support a student's academic journey, build strong, independent learners, and prepare them for higher education in India and abroad. As parents, you are not just choosing a school for your child. You are choosing a pathway that will shape the next stage of your child's life. So, our goal today is to help you see that path clearly and confidently. I am Dilnaz Barucha, your moderator for today. I work with the Billabong High International Schools and am also a part of Lighthouse Learning's Central Education team. And with me today is Patricia Lozano. Hello, Patricia. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be
Patricia,
here, Disney.
thank you, Patricia. Patricia is the Executive Director of Admissions Undergraduate at IE University, a globally recognized university known for its academic excellence and innovative approach to higher education. In her role, Patricia works closely with students and has deep insight into how universities evaluate and support students, including the Cambridge pathway. Her experience gives us a valuable perspective on how Cambridge prepares learners for the evolving expectations of the world. Today, Patricia will help us to explore why Cambridge Pathway is truly the need of the hour in today's rapidly changing world. Hello, and once again, welcome to our webinar, Patricia. Well,
Thank you.
are you ready,
Thank you.
Patricia? Let's
Yes,
dive
I'm
in.
ready. I'm ready.
Great, great. So, my first question to you today is that, as I mentioned earlier, we do live in a rapidly changing world. Why do you believe that the Cambridge pathway is particularly relevant for students growing up in India?
Okay, Dilna. First, before answering the question, I want to highlight that IE University is also a member of Cambridge International Board. And because of that collaboration that we have with them, I have had the support with this webinar in preparing the answers to the webinar. So answering to this question, why the Cambridge pathway is interesting for students growing up in India. As framed by the National Educational Policy, India is shifting in education priorities. Probably you know more than I do. In a way that are in ways that are closely aligned with how the Cambridge pathway has long since operated. So in both cases, for example, they both look beyond rote learning towards conceptual understanding, critical thinking, and global relevance. Uh, they both try to promote in subject choices, for example, no had separation between arts, commerce, and science. Um, they both try to prioritize teacher development and the way to treat teachers as professionals. The value of educational technology for teaching, learning, and assessment, and they both aim to increase equity of education for students all around the nation, all around India. So, for example, Cambridge is expanding into tier 2 and tier 3 cities. In addition to that, Cambridge prepares students for both Indian and international higher education, ensuring they remain eligible for national exams while also being competitive globally. For any international university as we are. They are recognized, the qualifications are recognized by over 2,500 universities in more than 90 countries. And this allows the Indian students to pursue opportunities abroad without extra equivalency exams. And also, it allows Cambridge allows support students navigating global volatility, including changes in geopolitics, visa policies, tuition costs, and personal circumstances, by providing qualifications that preserves choice and optionality.
Right. That's very, very insightful. Thanks you for sharing that, Patricia. But we also see that many parents in India think about Cambridge only when their children reach the stage of IGCSE, that's grade 10, or at the A levels or a grade 12 level. Do you think it is important to look at it as a continuous journey right from the primary years onwards?
Yeah, it is, because the Cambridge pathway is designed as a seamless progression. So from early years, primary, lower and secondary, and then the ISACs, as you mentioned, and the A levels. So uh, it's a fully integrated and flexibility pathway. And the benefits of starting early are really clear, because they can develop skills over the time, as critical thinking, research, communication, and problem solving skills that are nurtured in the early years. But also they have a coherence in the curriculum. We in universities, we see the difficulties that may have students when they change from one educational system to another. So in my opinion, it's really important to have this coherence in the curriculum, this continuous pathway during their studies. And also, Cambridge offers a comprehensive testing, because it's very well known that they have designed a framework internally that it's very well recognized by you professors, I mean teachers, and by families, parents, students, so and also universities. And it assures a soft transition into higher education, as I was mentioning.
Right. So the skills you say are nurtured right from the primary stage. So the transition into high school is easier.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Cambridge also talks about a very special learner profile. Tell us more about this Cambridge learner profile and how Cambridge helps develop these attributes or the profile in a child right from the primary stage.
Well, the Cambridge pathway, or the Cambridge learner profile, it allows, they highlight, they have 5 attributes they that contribute to different skills in the students. And these 5 core habits are designed to help students thrive in school, work, and life. Which are these 5 core attributes? Confident, responsible, reflective, innovative, and engaged learners. Um, from the very early years, students are encouraged to think critically, solve problems, work in collaboration with other students, and self-manage. And programs like Global Perspective and Thinking Skills at later stages build on these attributes, ensuring students that are adaptable and reflective thinkers.
Thank you. But yes, so well said, Patricia. Because at Billabong High International Schools, we have thoughtfully built on these attributes and built Innoverse, which is our learning framework. And our Innoverse curriculum captures the ethos of Cambridge and it deepens its nurturing as an innovator's mindset from an early age in our students. So, through case study based learning, through inquiry driven classrooms, meaningful use of technology in the classroom, the Socratic dialogue, students are encouraged right from the primary years to ask questions. And as you said, the attributes of being independent thinkers, collaborators, they need to collaborate with their peers and express their ideas confidently, because being confident is also one of the profiles of the Cambridge learners. So, all of this, I think, is very well encapsulated in our Innovus curriculum at Billabong High. So thank you for sharing that. Um, Moving on, Patricia, because parents in India, they have this myth about Cambridge, and that myth is that Cambridge is not very academically rigorous. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think, in my opinion, Cambridge is highly rigorous and it's recognized globally as highly rigorous because they have assessments that include final exams that are done worldwide in the same time of the year, extended responses, project work, and optional research projects like IPQ, and it promotes deep understanding over the route of memorization. Okay, so at a university, for example, we are also quite practical, but it doesn't mean that we are not rigorous academically speaking. So, I mean, the thing is, the way of learning is more attractive to the students, but obviously, um, they have exams and they have everything designed to be academically rigorous. Um, Leading up to high-stake exams, Cambridge Insight test demonstrated strong predictive validity for ICSE outcome worldwide, providing schools with a reliable benchmark of future performance. The Insight tests are standardized using some of the largest education database available, and they have almost a million data points across thousands of schools cohorts through ages 11, 19, ensuring high quality standardization and accuracy. Prediction correlations reach as high as 8 at IECC and A level, which means that Cambridge provides schools with some of the most accurate and dependable academic performance insights available. For example, and this is all data that Cambridge has provided to me, the last month, the high quality of academic results in Cambridge A levels by Indian students led to leading UK Russell Group institutions to offer a total of 8 at-home university scholarships to the students: University of Liverpool, Bengaluru, and University of York, Mumbai. So these are examples of the rigorous of the and how it's globally obviously recognized. And probably something that you can also add on because you see daily what happens at the end, the outcome of your students before going to when they have to go to the university.
Yes, and I think the academic rigor does come into Cambridge. And like you said, they have a very high standard that's maintained across globally, not just in India. And I think for the students, the main difference, especially at the primary stage, would be moving away from rote, as you mentioned earlier. So there isn't any emphasis on rote in Cambridge. It's very application based, concept driven, skill driven. So I think that's what sets the Cambridge learner apart from the other learners in the Indian ecosystem. So that when they grow up and they transition from primary to middle school to high,
Mhm.
they have the skills to cope with this academic rigor, which then increases as they progress through the pathway. And I think that's a very big plus point for Cambridge Pathway Schools. Um,
For
Great.
sure.
That was very insightful, in fact, that data that you shared with over 800 scholarships being given out by UK universities
Mhm.
to Indian students. That's really excellent. So, again, as our world is changing, there are careers now prevalent in our environment which were not really there in the past. So, new emerging, evolving careers are surrounding our students. Do you think Cambridge prepares our students not just with a degree, but for lifelong adaptability to these career changes?
Yes, well, that is something similar. That's something similar what we have always said at a university that we equips also students to work in a world that is constantly changing. And Cambridge also equips students not just for degrees, but for careers that may not exist today. And that's really something important. The good educators, they are focused on skills that are valid for whatever is going to happen in the future. The knowledge is over there on the internet, but the skills are what really important. uh, Transferable skills as research, analytical thinking, problem solving, self management, flexible learning pathway. Students choose subjects that are aligned with their interest, fostering motivation and resilience, global perspective, exposure to international standards, encourage adaptability in diverse cultural and academic settings. Um, for example, AI. AI is changing everything and is exposing weaknesses in educational models that are under prioritized the human capabilities universities and employers still need most, such as those described above. Um, and remember that we do this, or Cambridge do this from early years, using on Cambridge learner, their own Cambridge learner attributes. So, for example, as we were talking about the 5 attributes, confident, respond to uncertainty and rapid change, responsible, question AI outputs, not simply accepting them, applying ethics, judgment, accountability to AI, reflective, metacognition and learning how to learn, innovative, creativity and complex problem solving beyond AI and automation, which is really important. I think this is the key. Engage deeply with subjects and apply learning to complex problems. We are now in a time that we are moving in uncertainty times in education, but also in real life. So that's why we both Cambridge and I University, we both think that skills are the most important.
Right. And I think I caught on to one very important skill that you mentioned in this response is that they need to be innovative. And as I mentioned earlier, because Billabong High International School has their Innoverse curriculum, the framework builds on what we call the innovator's mindset in our students. So this means that our learners become self-directed, resilient, collaborative, and innovative. So, qualities that are very, very essential for them to survive and do well in a world where industries are changing so fast than they were ever before. So I think that's a very, very important skill that you brought out with this response. Right. So moving on. Um According to you, can Cambridge students apply for Indian competitive exams like, say, IIT, GE, or the NEET? And if you think yes, how does Cambridge support this?
Okay, well, this is an answer that I have a straight sorry, a question that I have a straight directed to Cambridge, and what they said is that yes, that Cambridge students can apply for Indian competitive exams, that they have developed bespoke programs such as the Cambridge Connect Bridge course, which helps students transition smoothly to GE, NEET, and CUT whilst working through the Cambridge pathway. And the Association of Indian Studies, of Indian Universities, recognition ensures equivalence with Indian grade 12 certificate, maintaining eligibility for national exams.
Right.
So,
So, all the students who go through the Cambridge pathway and at the stage when they have to apply for these competitive exams, it's a smooth transition for them. And as you mentioned, the AIU also recognizes these scores. So that's good news for students who want to have a future in these fields as well. So that's
sure.
great news. Right. Right. Now, moving to a question that I'm sure most of our parents have on their minds already. How are assessments in Cambridge different from the other education systems? And how do they provide an advantage to the students?
Okay. So, on the one hand, comprehensive testing. Cambridge is the only international educational provider that offers schools a comprehensive assessment framework developed in-house, as I was mentioning before in one of the questions before, at every stage of the Cambridge pathway. This unique range of assessment tools empowers teachers and learners to unlock potential. For example, checkpoint and insight exams provide early points of intervention to guide and redirect learning and are highly predictive of ICSE's and A-level results. And on the other hand, Cambridge Insight assessments leading up to high-stake exams, Cambridge Science Assessment demonstrates the strong predictive validity for ICSE outcomes worldwide, providing schools with a reliable benchmark of future performance. The Insight tests are standardized using some of the largest education data sets available. We have, or they say they have, almost 1 million data points across thousands of school cohorts through the ages of 11 and 19, ensuring high quality standardization and accuracy. Predictions correlations reach as high as 8 at ISAC and A level, which means that Cambridge provides schools with some of the most accurate and dependable academic performance insights available.
Wow, that was very, very insightful. And I'm sure very encouraging for parents who are looking towards Cambridge for their students. Right. Moving on, Patricia. What makes the Cambridge approach different from other education systems in India and around the world in terms of how children actually learn in class from day to day?
Well, Cambridge has now over 1,000 schools across India. They choose Cambridge for its flexibility curriculum, a choice of over 70 subjects at IECC and 50 subjects at A level that the students and the schools can combine and also teach in their local context. This flexibility leaves a space to breathe in the classroom and create the space for innovation in education. As we were mentioning, one of the skills, innovation is one of the key skills. And the students can choose optional components like IPQ, global perspective, and thinking skills, further building their creative and research thinking skills with real world relevance.
Right. So from what I get is that it provides a lot of flexibility in the number of subjects, the type of subjects the children
Yeah.
can pick up and learn, and how they all kind of correlate with one another.
And also,
And
one
that's
important
what's
point that I didn't mention, but I think is key also these days, is that they provide an early integration of a STEM, um, which is in a world where, let's say, technology is all around. That is also key, and prepares for students obviously for higher education pathways. Um, and we see that from the university perspective.
right. Um, Another question coming your way, Patricia. How does Cambridge prepare students for Indian and global higher education expectations?
Okay, so as they said, they prepare students for both Indian and international higher education, ensuring they remain eligible for national exams, as we were mentioning before, while being competitive globally. Um, this qualification has been recognized over 2,500 universities across 90 different countries. Um supports network-based mobility, non-linear pathways, Android-conscious student choices, and prepares students for universities embedding employability, flexibility, and multi-country studies, as we do at IE. For example, IE is one of the main examples. We have this flexibility in the way of teaching, multi-country possibilities to study, and of course, employability is one of our keys. Apart from innovation and other points that are aligned to Cambridge. The figure speaks from themselves, and the data that they have provided me is from the recent destination surveys data. 90% of Indian students progress to university, have to top 500 universities. 56% studied in India, uh, 34% studied abroad, and of course we see them in all the international universities.
Right. So the figure that kind of immediately popped out to me is 56% of the students continue to study in India. So
Mm-hmm.
another myth that parents generally have is Cambridge pathway schools are for students who want to always go abroad, study abroad. What if I don't want to
No,
go abroad and study in India? So 56% is a big number for our students who have completed the Cambridge pathway to continue their education in top tier universities in India itself. That's really heartwarming to see and hear. That's nice.
yeah.
Um, Great. Now is the time that we open up our floor for questions to our participants here. If you have any questions, please type them out in the chat box, and Patricia is here to answer any of them. I think we already have one in the chat. I'll read it out to you, Patricia.
Okay.
It says, can you share more details on how Cambridge University is helping Indian students in supporting visa and tuition fees?
Oh, that's a tough question because, uh, of course, they are. I mean, with tuition fees, probably about the scholarships we were mentioning. Uh, when they go to study in higher education, that is something that is we have already said. Regarding the tuition, probably Dilnas, you will have more detail on that because you are in a school in India. So maybe you can talk more about that. And regarding visa, the thing is that it's recognized by all the countries, and it's so the universities can give an admission, let's say, uh, relying on what is going to happen with the students. So that probably helps with the visa to the Indian students. That maybe in other educational system is going to be more difficult depending on the country they go to.
Right. So I think it's very university specific, country specific information that each parent will have to look out for at that
Yeah,
stage.
yeah.
Right. All right. Our next question from one of our participants. Uh, I know a British school in India that follows the Cambridge IGCSE curriculum until grade 10 and then transitions to IBDP, stating that the combination increases the chance for admissions to Ivy League universities. They don't trust the curriculum A levels. What do you have to say about this? Are A levels not rigorous vis-a-vis the IBDP? Who would you prioritize at IE University? IBDP students or A level students?
Well, that's a tricky question. And probably the intention of this parent was to to do the question just trying because we receive applicants from more than 60 different educational systems, and it's not only the educational system, but how the student is performing in the system. So for us, what is really important is how they are performing in their educational system, and also how successfully they are in the admission process, which is another important point. So talking about skills, which is something important in the admission process, is something that we take into account. And as I was mentioning, Cambridge provides with all the skills. And I think in content, probably the curriculum in mathematics of A level is quite strong and quite rigorous. If they want to work in, or if they want to study in STEM degrees. But I can't say that there is one educational system that is better than the other. And I don't agree with this school that say that they don't rely on A levels, because I think both of them, they have amazing, and we have at our university amazing examples of students, brilliant students coming either from IB or from A levels. So I cannot say that there is one against the other. I think there is one maybe that fits better with one student than another. So maybe IB is not for everyone, and maybe A levels is not for everyone.
But for you at university level, both students fare the same, right? There isn't one preference
Completely,
over the other. Absolutely.
completely.
Absolutely. Right. The next question. What would be your advice for someone who is moving from an Indian education system, which is the ICSE, to the IGCSE curriculum? So maybe from an Indian education system to the Cambridge curriculum system at a stage 7, grade 7 level. Any advice to them?
Well, probably I don't know exactly how Indian educational system works on these skills, but my piece of advice to these parents, because I'm also mother of of young university girls, is to work to help this student to work in the skills that maybe they may lack in terms of communication, in terms of creativity, in terms of the things that he or she will need moving into this new educational system, and that maybe lack in their traditional educational system.
Right. And I think if you compare the ICSE curriculum with the Cambridge curriculum, the main difference that I see is the focus on research skills, on
Hmm.
collaboration and creative thinking, which I think gives an edge to the Cambridge learners compared to the learners who come from an Indian education system, which relies on concepts rather than skills, on
Yeah.
rote rather than application. So the important advice would be to, as you said, build on those skills, which will help them navigate this change, this transition from one board to the other.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on, we have the next question. Is entrance exam for abroad universities, foreign universities, not required for students who come from Cambridge pathway schools? So
Mm,
any entrance exams or any additional exams that universities would need, are they required or not required for students who come from the Cambridge schools?
I mean, the students that are coming from Cambridge pathway and or Indian or whatever educational system in any university, at least what I know more, that is a university, they have to comply with the requirements that they will have to enter in any university in India. Would be exactly the same. So it's true that we have our own admission process, meaning that they have to complete an application, they have to go through an admission test, or they can submit a standardized test, but they have to graduate as they do. They have to take their A levels and then go into a very quick administrative process, which is like the convalidation of their studies in the UK system to the Spanish system, because we are a university located in Spain. In our case, if they go to the UK or if they go to the US, they will have to comply with their requirements. But in this type of international education as Cambridge, they normally they don't have to do anything extra apart from what they've been doing in Cambridge.
Right. Uh, like I mentioned earlier, parents do have a lot of questions around assessments in Cambridge. So, from which level do assessments start at for the Cambridge curriculum?
Hmm. I think I know, I'm sorry, Dildas, but I don't have the information here. Maybe you can answer to them, because what I know from the side of the university is the assessment that we see, that are the IECCs and the final exams we see. But probably you have more information on internal assessments and things that they do since early stages.
Right. So, answering this question from my end, um, at the Cambridge primary level, grades one and two, or the primary grades one, two, and three, especially, we do very formative assessments in Cambridge schools. So they are, again, as I said, skill building, uh, preparing reading skills or research skills or communication skills. So they are spaced around the entire year. They are very formative in nature. There is no term end pen and paper assessment as compared to the Indian boards that they have. And then slowly, as the child grows, the child matures, the assessment pattern starts to change. At the end of primary, they have what we call the Cambridge checkpoints, primary checkpoints, which is like a diagnostic test. Then comes the middle school, where the formative tests are combined with summative tests as well. So, combination of formative and summative exams start getting the kids into the groove of assessments, and then the rigor starts building up. And then finally, when they are at the IGCSE level or at the AS and A levels, they have to choose their subject choices, their combinations, depending on what degrees they want to pursue, which universities they want to apply for, and then the entire, the board level exams that children write. I hope that answers your question for assessments. There is a similar question which I answered earlier about how would an IGCSE student would adjust from the Indian system into the IGCSE system, where parents feel that in ICSE, where the answers are ready and made, in IGCSE standard papers, the questions are very unpredictable, and the children find it difficult to answer these questions because they are not directly lifted from the textbook. Is this true? So, well, yes, the questions are not directly from the textbook. And I think that is the beauty of the curriculum,
Yeah.
that you do not have to memorize anything. You don't have to focus only on the concept. But if you have understood that concept, you can write the answers to those questions in your own words, express them in your own manner, and if you're able to justify your answer, you get the marks. So I think that's the beauty of the Cambridge curriculum, that once the concept is clear in the child's mind, that concept can be applied not just in the question paper, but anywhere in life that the child goes, whether it's at university or, like we mentioned earlier, at about employability. So whether they are at work, the skills and the concepts that they have learned can be applied to real life and not just learned for the sake of an examination, which they might forget after the examination is over. So that's the main difference, I would say, in the assessment patterns. And I don't think students find it very difficult, because if the school is following the Cambridge pathway, the methodology in which the Cambridge curriculum is supposed to be dealt with in the class, if the teachers are trained and the methodology being used is the one that Cambridge prescribes, then half the battle is won. The children know their concepts well and they can apply it in an exam. So I hope that answers your question. The next question, if you could pitch in, Patricia, how is Cambridge different from IB?
Hmm. I mean, from the perspective that I see, obviously, I see students when they are applying to university, and we have analyzed thousands of curriculums and thousands of applicants. They both develop skills. Probably some, I mean, some skills are different in one curriculum than the other. Um, But to me, the main difference is the depth of knowledge that you get in certain subjects in the Cambridge curriculum. So I was explaining mathematics. For example, if someone is taking mathematics, mathematics in Cambridge, they are equivalent to the first year of the engineering degree, which is not in the case of IB. Or economics. They study economics in depth, as if they were in the first year of the economic degree. So the depth of certain subjects may help students, and in addition with the skills that they have all set since they started in the early years, as we were mentioning, will help students in specific degrees as all the STEM degrees and other type of more specific, let's say, degrees in which these type of subjects are really relevant.
Right. Okay, are there any more questions? Let's just have a quick glance at the chat box. Give me a minute. All right, I think there are no more questions from the audience. So, as we come close to closing today's session, I would like to thank each one of our participants who have taken their time to come out and join us and engaged with us through this conversation. Your questions and reflections truly show how deeply invested you are in your child's future. And the partnership between the parent and the school is what makes the educational journey truly meaningful for our learners. Very special thank you to you, Patricia, for sharing your valuable insights and for helping us understand the Cambridge pathway from a broader global perspective. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Dilnas, and thank you to you for the invitation. Have a
Right.
nice day there.
So we hope that this session has given our parents and our audience a greater confidence in understanding how the Cambridge journey supports their child, right from the early years through higher education and beyond. So over the years, we at Billabong High International School have carefully studied and compared leading education systems in India, and we chose the Cambridge pathway because we believe that it offers the perfect balance of global standards and relevance for Indian learners. So, research by organizations such as the World Economic Forum, the OECD, they all highlight the need for collaboration, adaptability, and problem solving in today's VUCA world, right? And the Cambridge approach strongly aligns with these future ready skills. So, as we strengthen the Cambridge STEM focus, it also provides a very, very solid foundation for Indian students who aspire to sit for competitive exams. So, this is just a little brief recap to answer all these questions these parents have about how well their children are going to be equipped to face the world when they step out of school. So parents, families, we would be delighted to welcome you to come and visit our campuses to continue this conversation and explore how we can partner together in shaping your child's future. So, thank you once again for being with us this evening. Thank you, Patricia, once again for being with us today and having this insightful conversation. And we look forward to staying connected.